Ever feel like playing guitar is just hard to do? No matter how much you practice, it just seems like too much of an uphill battle to get the things to sound clean, clear, fluent on a consistent basis. Well, here's the thing. Most people struggle because they're trying too hard. The secret to making guitar feel easy isn't more effort, it's less. When you learn how to reduce the tension and only use the effort that is required, whether you're strumming, fingerpicking, soloing, playing scales, whatever, suddenly everything becomes so much easier to play. But most guitar players overlook this, and it's the reason they stay stuck for years, frustrated with their playing and continually fighting with the instrument. Today, we're going to fix all of that. So here's the plan. We're going to do a quick tension audit to spot where you might be holding unnecessary tension when playing guitar. Then we'll look specifically at the fretting hand and at some very effective drills for smoothing that out and making things much easier to play. And then I'm going to show you an exercise that balances the tension between your picking hand and your fretting hand. This is something that most players don't even realize they need. By the end of this video, you'll know how to play guitar with minimal effort, faster, cleaner, and without that constant fatigue. I'm Simon Candy. I've been teaching guitar for over 30 years, and if you want more lessons like this one, then be sure to hit subscribe. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so let's begin with a tension audit. So all we mean is let's just scan our body before we do anything for any excess tension. Okay, and just really relaxing. You want to breathe naturally when you play. I mean, if you hold your breath, just hold your breath now. How tense do you feel throughout your body? A lot of people hold their breath when they play guitar, particularly when those tricky parts come up in a tune for you. You tense up and there goes the fluency and effortlessness that we would like with our guitar playing. So we want to just take a moment and make sure first, even before we scan our body, are we sitting with the guitar in an efficient way, if you like? Now, there's a few different ways you can sit with the guitar, and we're not going to go into huge detail here, but make sure you're not, got the guitar pointing downward towards the floor. You can have it on your right or left leg. You can play around with those ideas. Just make sure you're sitting up nice and straight and you have this T formation. Your shoulders are nice and straight. We're not sort of hunched over the guitar. It's not pointing to the floor, as I say. We're not got it out on an angle like this. All these things, doesn't matter how much you focus on tension, if this isn't right, it's not going to work too well. So we need to make sure we've got this nice straight T formation when we're sitting with the guitar. I've got my leg raised on a footstool right now. If it wasn't, it'd be down like this. Again, more tension in my playing. I've got to reach down for the guitar. It just doesn't work. So you need to elevate your leg. The other foot that is free should be nice and flush with the floor. If you're sort of on the tip of your toes, there's tension, and it might seem ridiculous, but that makes a difference to your playing. And if you were performing somewhere, and I've had this experience myself, and that leg that is not on the footstool, you're on your toes, that gets the shakes going throughout the body that comes with the nerves. So really ground yourself. That's a good thing to do regardless, but certainly if you're about to perform, just really feel yourself nice and grounded. But then, as I said, just scan. Where can tension show up? Well, a lot of it starts in the shoulders. If your shoulders are tense, if they're hunched up or anything like that, that's going to come through to your arms and your fingers and affect your playing. So you want your shoulders nice and relaxed. Your tongue, not clenching teeth, keeping your tongue nice and relaxed. Your forehead, your shoulders, as I said, your torso, your legs, everything. Just scan your body and just relax and breathe in and breathe out. Okay, and then the next thing you can do is simply do something, play something. And when I say play something, not a song, not even a bar of music, just grab like a chord, like an E chord, and just take a moment to scan and go through. Maybe you create a little checklist for yourself from your head down, nice and relaxed, guitar's straight, nice posture. Then just strum the chord. You could do this with a single note. And we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail in a moment, but just do something and just keep a nice relaxed feel throughout your body. And when you're playing, you're not always going to be able to focus on tension, but just have a general awareness of it. And when you do go and play, just have the intention of playing nice and relaxed with no excessive tension, just the optimal amount of tension needed. And if you feel anything come up, any tension come up, relax it. Stop and just relax wherever the tension is, and then continue. And stop each time when you feel that tension and then continue. This is just general advice here. We're going to get more specific, but do that because half of the battle is the awareness. Once you're aware of it, then you can just stop relax it and continue. And that will start to get you feeling more and more relaxed and just using the tension needed for whatever you're doing at the time on guitar. So that's the first thing, just a little bit of a tension audit, and this just lays the foundation. What we're going to do next is look at some drills and exercises that really focus on this and help further with playing guitar with minimal effort. Now, before we move forward here, let me just mention that tension and excess tension or optimal tension is not absolute. It's not a consistent thing. So we're not saying get rid of all tension, because then you won't be able to do anything on the guitar. But we're also saying that some things require more tension than others. So it won't be one size fits all. Sometimes if you're bending a string, you're going to have to put more tension into bending that string. If you're playing a bar chord, that's going to require more tension, if you like, more energy than playing a single note. So it's not an absolute thing. So while you might feel like you're nice and relaxed and playing something and it's all good, that's great, but that doesn't mean that's going to be for all areas of your playing or everything that you do. So what we're going to do now is look at the fretting hand specifically and some drills we can do to really train it to only exert the pressure or the energy needed to sound notes. So the first drill, we're going to dial in the perfect amount of tension needed to sound a single note on the guitar. And you'll be surprised how little you need. Okay, so here's what we do. I'm going to take my first finger, I'm going to play the 5th fret, it can be any note, on the 2nd string. And we start by pushing in with our finger hard into the fretboard, harder than we would normally want to. So we're going to purposely exert too much tension. And we're going to continually pluck that string. So we're sounding it. And as we do, we're going to gradually relax this finger to the point where it starts to break up the note. Obviously, we've relaxed it too much. So when you get to that point where it starts to break apart or maybe completely goes, reapply the pressure, but not any more than you need to sound the note. So I've started pushing in really hard. I'm relaxing. The note starts to break up too much. So now I just reapply the pressure, but just enough to sound the note. And I might go back and forth between that a little bit. Start with the pushing in hard, then keep picking, relax. Starts to break up, reapply pressure. You've got the note sounding again. Relax it a little bit more, breaks up, bring it back. And think of it like a dial on a radio station, right? A radio, not a radio station so much, but you tune in the radio station and there's a perfect point. If you just go back and forth with that dial, there's a perfect point where you get the clear signal. That's what we're doing here. We're just finding that perfect, optimal amount of tension to sound a single note on the guitar. And as I said, you'll be surprised how little you have to push. Here's another drill that's really effective at getting this hand to relax when playing. And we're going to take it to the extreme here and exaggerate this a little bit. We're going to play a scale. This could be anything, by the way. This could be chords, it could be a melody, it could be absolutely anything. I'm just going to take this pattern 1 pentatonic scale. Okay, it's in the key of, let's say, A minor here. Instead of fretting the notes and sounding the notes as I climb the scale and descend, I'm simply just going to touch the string like this. So I just get the dudded notes, right? A couple of little harmonics in there, but we're just touching the string, not pushing. So we're taking it to the extreme. Obviously, we're not going to play like that because we'd never sound a note, but we're just really sending the message to the fretting hand here to just be nice and light on the strings. Obviously to the extreme, but then we're going to be able to apply that accordingly when we're actually playing music. And then we could do this with chords, like just making open chord forms, but not pushing down. So if we were to pick these chords, we might hear some open strings, but we wouldn't hear the fretted notes, right? Just getting the fingers, bar chords, any sort of chord, or as I said, the scale, just getting the fingers to feel light across the strings. Now, a lot of the time when people are playing guitar, they squeeze between the thumb and the fingers, like a vice-like grip. And that's understandable because if you're not used to playing guitar, what do you normally do with your hands? You grab things, and so you're squeezing, if you like, with your thumb and your fingers. So naturally, when you grab the neck of the guitar, just like if you're going to pick it up and take it somewhere, you're just sort of pushing in with the thumb and the fingers. We're squeezing the neck, but we don't want to squeeze the neck, right? We don't want to push. We want to be able to get pressure from the fingers working independently of the thumb because they're not going to be the same. The fingers will push in as much as they need to, but we don't want the thumb pushing back. Okay, the thumb isn't even really pushing into the back of the neck. It's just weighted downward, right? The flesh of the thumb and the wood of the neck creates that friction that stops the hand from, or the arm from dropping. But it's not really pushing into the neck towards your fingers. It's just a downward sort of pull, if you like, towards the ground. And then your fingers, of course, need to push into the frets to form chords and notes and so forth. So here's what we can do to help train the ability to get the independence of the pressure, if you like, between thumb and fingers, so we can control them separately. So we could grab like a bar chord. Bar chords are notoriously difficult to play at first, and part of the reason why is that people squeeze the neck when they play a bar chord. So they're pushing in really hard with the fingers to sound the notes, and their thumb equally automatically pushes back just as hard. So we get that sort of thing, squeezing. What we'd rather is the thumb stay in place and only the fingers push in, whether you're playing a bar chord or single notes. I'll use a bar chord in this example. We want to practice forming the chord, keep it very light, but you've got the chord formed, the thumb's on the back, we're all nice and positioned, the posture's good, and then push in with your fingers, hold the guitar into your body so it doesn't fly away, but push in with your fingers without the thumb pushing in. Thumb's just relaxed on the back of the neck. It is in contact with the neck here, but your fingers are going to just push in like this, but your thumb is not. So we're just starting to separate the pressure, if you like, from the fingers and the thumb, so we can work with them individually. But we just want to avoid the squeezing of the fingers and the thumb, whether we're playing single notes or bar chords, because really, in reality, this arm is like rope, or sometimes I hear people call it like a wet noodle. It's very relaxed. Okay, we're not tensed up like we would be if we're squeezing the neck of the guitar. As soon as you squeeze the neck and you'll feel the tension. But if you relax the hand, you feel how that all goes away, and then we can just isolate the pressure we need to the fingers here. The thumb's nice and relaxed, and we can get more control over what we're doing with our hands on the fretboard. And here's one more drill most people never do, aren't even aware of this, that will make a big difference to your playing as far as tension is concerned. So we just spoke about isolating tension and having individual control over it between the thumb and the fingers. We've also got to be able to do that with the fretting hand and picking hand. Sometimes you've got to really dig in with the picking hand. What will happen often with a lot of people is they will naturally start to dig in harder with their fingers because this hand is picking really hard. But we want to be nice and light on the fingers still, even if this is digging in, and vice versa. So here's something we can do to train the control of the amount of tension needed in any given hand, picking and fretting hands at any given time when we're playing something. Again, it could be anything here. I'm just going to take this A minor pentatonic scale again. And what we do is we're going to play with very light touches on this hand, right? So it's going to be very light, as we'd want to be a lot of the time, but particularly we want to sound the notes, not the ghosting this time. We want to sound them, but we want to be very light on our fingers, while at the same time we pluck quite hard with the picking hand. Now you could be using a pick here or your fingers, it doesn't matter. And we want to pluck really hard with the pick or the fingers, right? Like I am now. Really digging in. But the fretting hand is remaining relaxed as we go up and down doing this. So my fretting hand is very relaxed, but I'm picking quite loud with my thumb. That can be tricky to do, okay? Because you'll find when you start to really dig in with your picking hand, this wants to dig in, as I said. So the goal there is to relax with the fretting hand, sound clean notes, but no more exertion than needed to sound those notes, and really dig in with the picking hand. Then we can flip that and we can be digging in really hard with the fingers. So again, we're exaggerating, but digging in really hard with the fingers, but a really light touch, as you can hear there, with your pick or fingers in the picking hand. So I'm pushing down hard with my fingers, but keeping it very light in my picking hand. Really great exercise for getting the independence of tension between not just thumb and fingers, but picking hand and fretting hand. If you're into fingerpicking guitar, but everything you play seems to sound the same, then check out this free ebook I've created for you called 10 Melodic Fingerpicking Patterns You Can Learn in 10 Minutes or Less. The reason why everything you play might sound a bit same is probably because of one of these three big myths. 1, you need to know a lot of patterns. 2, only advanced patterns sound any good. And 3, there's some magical pattern out there that if you could just find it, you'll finally sound great. None of these are true. In this ebook, you're going to learn how to make simple, easy to play fingerpicking patterns sound amazing. It's not the pattern. The pattern is just technical. It's not musical. It's how we apply it. And we will do that throughout the book, and we will do it in simple ways, but the result will be really unique and will sound more advanced. None of this open chord stuff. It's going to be more interesting than that. So if that sounds good to you, click the link in the description below and download your free copy today. If you like this lesson, then hit subscribe and ring the bell. That way you won't miss the next one. And if you want to be sure that you've got good fretting hand technique, then check out the video on your screen right now where I show you how to get the perfect fretting hand position. I'm Simon Candy. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.